So we're back with YourTown TV and the Arts of the Answer segment of YourTown TV, and today it's all about jazz. So I'm so excited to continue on, and with Donna Phillips, who is the co-founder of smoothjazz.com Global. So thank you, Donna, for being here. It's so exciting to see you in person.
Thank you.
I've been all over your website looking at all the things that you guys are up to, and it is so exciting. But I have to tell you, one of the things that really stands out for me is that I've known Sandy for a really long time. You know, I've seen her picture, I've seen her in public, and I'm always taken by, you know, her big smile. And you have a big smile too. But everybody on your website, like everybody, there's all 10, 12, I don't know how many people you have there, and they are all smiling. What in the world are you all smiling about so much?
I
know you're working hard.
Yeah, we work constantly. The hours are ridiculous, but we love what we do, and we love who we work with.
Oh, phenomenal.
It's not that it's not super challenging, because the message we're bringing to the music world and how to do things differently is not always easily received. So it's a challenge, but we love the freedom that this job affords us. We created a workspace that
Maybe that's what I'm seeing, this feeling of freedom. There's something extra.
We work on laptops. We can work anywhere in the world. Yeah, we had an opportunity to travel in 2009 all around South America on a ship. So we reinvented our entire platform so that we could do it from afar.
Wow.
We could access everything remotely. So yeah, we're all free to go. Some of us just pick up from where we live now in California, and they go to England for a month and work from there. And so I think maybe that's the smiling you're getting.
That's definitely part of it, I am sure.
Yeah.
So talk to us about what, when you say smooth jazz, what do you mean by that, and how has it evolved over the years? You've been there for 20 years, is it?
Yeah, we've been doing, we started streaming in 2000, but Sandy bought the domain name in 95.
That's amazing.
And that was when people didn't really care about what domain names were. They didn't see it as monopoly properties, but she did.
Wow.
So a friend offered it to her, and it was not easy in those days to come by that money, because she was on radio, and radio doesn't pay great sometimes, you know, so it was a big decision. And she had just started doing the concerts here in Monterey. And so she thought, well, and also, funny thing, it wasn't being called smooth jazz.
That's right.
It was called New Adult Contemporary.
Okay. Oh, yes.
Yeah, and it was kind of something that was being invented. It was pulling from a little bit from like pop. So you'd have Pat Metheny, Tracy Chapman, and then you'd have David Sanborn. All thrown in there. And it was kind of from LA, San Francisco, and then it was being picked up in New York, and then it became smooth jazz. So we had the domain name before the format was committed to that name. And then you would see the logo, smooth jazz, and the swash, and it became a national format.
So now I'm seeing that you have this whole vision and the mission statement, and you have such an amazing strategy that we'll talk about too, that it's not just like a radio station, it's this whole lifestyle, it's so many integrated ideas and products and services. It's really quite something. But at some point you had to figure that out. What was that like for you?
Well, Sandy, coming from radio, she's been in radio starting in Cannery Row when she was 15. So she'd worked in LA, San Francisco, came back to Monterey and worked on the jazz station. But we started seeing this flipping of the real estate, and so she'd lose her job every time they'd take the jazz off the air.
That's what it was.
And then we'd have the concerts, and that was our advertising platform to reach our people, and they wouldn't know where we were anymore. And they would call our ticket line crying sometimes, saying, where's the jazz? It's Monterey. How could we not have jazz? So we thought, you know, the way it's being played is what's taking it off the air. The consultants were involved, and they were just narrowing the playlist down so small, not inviting new artists to come in, not looking out globally.
Wow.
So we saw this missed opportunity, and we thought, you know what? We're going to go right across the country in a car and interview radio stations and try to get, and we had just started a chart. There was Billboard Radio and Records and Gavin, and Gavin said, here, have our chart. It was an album chart. We're going to do something else.
Wow.
And we were building their website at the time because we're trying to make revenue, right? And so we realized if we could get all these radio stations to come into our chart, we could maybe expand their playlists and it would thrive in the United States. But as we interviewed them, state by state, they would hear each other's interviews, but they would just keep telling us why they couldn't play the music. And I thought, this is going to die. This isn't going to make it. So Sandy just looked at me and said, we're going global. We're never going back to FM. I know if we play this music differently and we make it broader and more accepting of new music, it will grow. And that's what we did.
So amazing.
Yeah, and it worked.
I just love that power that you just take and say, okay, here we go. So what gave you guys the feeling that that you could just do it?
Well, Sandy knew she could do it. She's an Aquarian.
She had the background, and she had the energy. And
but she had a connection at K-Pig Radio where she was working. And Bill Goldsmith was an engineer there, and he had a show on K-Pig. And I'm sure some people know Bill, Wild Bill. He started RadioParadise.com.
Okay.
But he also figured out how to stream K-Pig before any other FM did. And see, people don't know that. This started all in our little area.
Isn't that awesome?
Yeah.
We're so happy to be pioneers.
Yeah, we are. We're part of the whole Silicon Valley thing. And so we were talking to Bill and saying, when can we go on the air? And he said, I have a little deal with AOL happening. It's called the Shoutcast platform, and they're going to build the largest internet radio server, and anyone who's a pioneer who gets on early will get free bandwidth. We don't know for how long.
Wow.
And it ended up being for 12 years.
That's amazing.
So we got way ahead of the pack because we didn't have to pay to have people listen to us through bandwidth.
Wow.
And Bill got us that deal. And he also built the first automation system so we could program the music. He built that himself.
That is amazing.
That's how we got started. Our first listener on Shoutcast, the night we streamed from the house in Pacific Grove, where the server was a college student in Slovenia. At first, we said, he's so young. I mean, I didn't know young people really would love this music. And he goes, this is great to study by. And he goes, I'm going to turn my friends onto it. And we watched us go into the #1 position.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, so Radio Paradise would go #1, the electronica station, and then us. And we said, wait a minute, smooth jazz is bigger than we thought.
That is so awesome.
And so it's gone global,
That is amazing.
And now we use it as a marketing platform. So artists can reach that audience that now trust us. So we wanted to build that bond where they come to us to say, hey, what's smoothjazz.com playing?
Yeah.
So we have a listening loft and they go there for all the new music.
That is brilliant. Yeah. So you have so much else going on in your smoothjazz.com global empire. It feels like an empire, building. I just love it. So can you talk a little bit about one of the things that's on our minds, of course, right now is the Monterey Jazz Festival and how you got involved and what you see as the interplay and the connections that you're making that way.
We love the Monterey Jazz Festival because it's such a feeling, it's a vibe, right?
Yeah.
And that's what smooth jazz is about. Like if you go out to a festival, when I first got involved in the concerts here, I didn't know what smooth jazz was, and I said, it doesn't sound like it's for me. I came from alternative rock, with my band. I came out and they were the artists give everything. They know how to play. There's a groove to it.
Yeah.
People are up dancing. They're into it, right?
Yeah.
And I said, no, there's something here.
Yeah.
So where it relates to the Jazz Fest, like Tim Jackson actually used to play at our concerts and on the Monterey Plaza Hotel at the jazz concerts. We knew him from there.
Prior,
and we had done events at the Kumbwa, so there was that connection.
Oh, yeah.
But we just loved the Jazz Festival because of the heritage and what it represented, because we love the Monterey Bay. And we always say from the Monterey Bay to the world, right, with smoothjazz.com. Yeah. So it took us years to convince the Jazz Festival that our audience would love them.
Yeah.
And they just thought there was a division in jazz. We didn't believe in that division.
Yes.
And now with Colleen and Tim and the other Tim, there's a great crew over there, and we have a nice simpatico relationship where they get that we can drive a lot of new traffic to them.
Isn't that wonderful?
And not just for the music, but for the experience, the food, the aromas, the feeling of the fairgrounds in fall, right?
Yeah. All of it. It really is multidimensional. The Jazz Festival alone is multidimensional. Yeah. But so is your whole, I can only think of as empire, because you have a total combined audience of over 20 million. You're available everywhere around the world. How else could I say? Currently over 200 countries listening. But what else is the kind of thing that I was really paying attention to is all the other kinds of aspects to your company.
Services.
And my thought about it is that it's also all totally integrated. It's not like one thing. It's all, you're somehow interconnecting all that. So can you talk for a few minutes about what those are and how they evolved and how do you keep it all going?
Well, when we first went on the air, like I said, it was 3 stations. Yeah. And what's funny about that is we all monetize differently.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, so we had to think, how are we going to sustain this, right? So Bill decided to ask for listener donations, and that's how he's supported. He does quite well with that.
Still, so that's still the format.
He programs for his audience, right? But that's all he does. He didn't want to get into, having a marketing platform for artists or any of that. So he has a simpler platform in a lot of ways, but he does very well and is very well respected. The other gentleman who did digitally imported, he decided to have every type of genre and subgenre and try to reach everyone who liked everything. He was kind of the first Pandora-ish. And so what he did was offer a subscriber rate.
Okay.
So you had to buy in to listen, right? We decided we didn't want to go either one of those directions. And we were thinking, and we noticed all these CDs were coming from all over the world to our office. And we thought, how are they finding us? I mean, internet radio's new, you know, and satellite hadn't been invented yet. Yeah. So I said to Sandy, they need something from us. We have something they don't have. We have something that not any one FM station has. Yeah. We have the global audience. FM is only national. Yeah. Right? So if we could take our platform and make it more accessible and use it as a way to connect dots, right? Yeah. So connect the audience with new music and teach the artist how to connect back with the audience in a more profound way than just putting your CD in a store and hoping they find it, right? Yes. But to actively tell you and to take the idea of what radio used to do, which was the DJ used to tell you stories about the artist. Yes, right. They, in essence, were the driving sales force of the record companies. Yeah. But when it got conglomerated and we were in the 80s and 90s and we remember we were trying to strip all the people out and try to automate everything, we lost the sales force. Yeah. Record sales started going down. And sales in the kind of way that you're talking about, not like pushing things so much as connecting people, sharing. Making you feel something. This is so awesome that I just discovered. Let me share it with you. That's what I remember from the best days of all the DJ experiences. In Miami, where I grew up, they would tell us, so-and-so Cheap Trick's coming to Specs Records on Saturday. Get on your bikes, get in your cars, whatever it takes. You don't want to miss these guys. Yeah. And we go down and get our, record signed. Yeah. Yeah. That is what we brought back to smoothjazz.com. Isn't that the greatest thing, really? So you don't feel like you're hearing any ads. Yeah. You're just hearing us tell you something unique about the artist while we play a little bit of their music underneath. But even with the internet, and and some days I feel like I can find everything I need anyway. Yeah. But there's a lot of times also that there's so much out there that trying to be discerning, I still need a curator, even for news, even for a lot of things. I still need somebody who can help me with that, because otherwise I'm spending 24/7 just to find out what happened today. And that's what it is. That's a good word, curator. That's exactly what we do. Is we narrow the choices. So the artists who are actively marketing, we work with them while they're marketing. So they're doing radio promotion to radio, and then they're doing promotion to the audience. The problem is a lot of artists had to go through a record label for that. Not too long ago. Right. So we have to teach a lot. We're teaching a lot on how to use social media and all that. So tell me how you go about that. Like, do you have like a toolkit that they can download, or do you have like a one-on-one session with them? We can do that. How does all that go? Yeah, we do consultation with the artist as part of just educating to see if we're a fit, if they do want to market, and then we offer services like blasts that go out with big, beautiful graphics promoting them and a write-up on them with links to all of their social media. We teach them how to do videos, or we produce videos for them. And at affordable rates? Yes, at very affordable rates. Because, I mean, when I was starting to advertise my band in the 90s, I could only afford a classified ad in the LA Times when we played LA for $200. Oh. That was $200 for a little bit of writing. But it was $10,000 for a full-page ad. Yeah. So, yeah, our rates are super affordable. And they go what we believe in is saturation. So you're on with us for 3 to 6 months. Oh, that's brilliant. Or even 12 if you want to work multiple projects. The other exciting thing is we work with a lot of jazz festivals. And that was hard because they'd say, well, I have a radio station in my market. I don't really, why do I care if someone, or can you narrow your blast to only go out to Tempe, Arizona? Yeah, yeah. And I'd say, but what if there's a guy coming from Paris, France to a convention there? Never mind. And he says, hey, Najee's playing at this, festival. And I'm going to go while I'm here. Yeah. You don't want him to know about it? And they'd have to sit and think. So that was our big mountain to climb. That is awesome. Go global in your thinking. Go global. That is amazing. Well, and especially for California, especially for Monterey Bay, we all should be thinking global all the time. I know the Monterey County Convention and Visitors Bureau, they have to think globally. They do it through partners a lot of times with Cal Tourism and then the U.S. Tourism Association also, but you're just going right out there. And we do have a lot of global audience here that come to our Monterey Peninsula. That's one of the reasons. Definitely, and over the years. That's one of the reasons we are dipping our toe back into the events side. We haven't done events for probably 15 years. Oh, it's that long? We ended after 9/11 because the market fell out. You know, there just wasn't enough of the feeder market. People weren't traveling then.
Yeah.
So we went ahead and focused on smoothjazz.com. Glad we did.
Yeah.
And it's been great. We've traveled to a lot of these festivals, and then we do videos when we're there. So we let you feel how it is to be in Mallorca, Spain, or Portugal, or in England, or whatever. And then people will take a risk. I find that Americans are a little harder to convince to say, yes, going to a jazz festival in Spain, it's doable.
Yeah.
You can do it. And
That's really true.
now we just opened Smooth Travel. So now we not only have smoothjazz.com.
It's like, oh my gosh, there's always something more.
And
That's
Smooth
so
Lounge.
awesome.
Smooth Lounge is more of a chill out jazz sound, which we got from going to Europe. So that leans more European. Smooth jazz is a newer, hipper smooth jazz sound. And Smooth Travel is a travel portal. Yeah.
Wow.
So what we're doing now is working with a local travel agent, our Smooth Travel agent, who will help you book your jazz festival event in other countries. So we're starting to branch out into that. And we're starting with our own event, the Jazz Weekender, Sandy Shores Jazz Weekender out at Quail Lodge, Valentine's Day, 2019.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's intimate. It's 250 seats only 2 shows a night. So it's 500 people, that's it. And you buy for all 3 days. So you're in for the weekender. And it's President's Day, so you have 4 days.
That is brilliant.
Boz Scaggs, Boney James, Rick Braun, and a lot of the young artists that are stars in our format will be there as well.
That is amazing.
Yeah, and we're even going to take them on a little tour called the Jazz and Wine Line.
Oh, you're not. Is
you
that
get on
right?
the bus,
That's
and
brilliant.
every winery you go to, our partners, you'll have one of the bands playing there. Yeah,
That's
so
phenomenal.
different ways to experience the music. You see what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Not the whole opening act, headliner. We're taking all that away.
Wow.
We're going to have the artists actually segue into each other.
Oh, is that true? Really?
So one starts, and maybe they sing on a song, and someone else comes out.
Oh, really?
And then they sing on each
Seriously?
other's song, and then that one goes away, and then the headliner comes out, and then they all play with each other at the end.
See, I always wonder. I always think that would be like the best thing ever. Shouldn't they come together? But that's too bad. It's just technically, it's just too much of a hassle. But from a listener's perspective, from somebody sitting there, that just is when it can happen. It's just like, oh, it's the best thing ever.
Because you don't know.
It's so unique.
You don't know what's going to happen.
You don't, and they don't either. I mean, this is also the best thing for me is to watch them kind of figure it out.
Yeah.
You know.
I love that.
And it's just awesome.
They're like, you go.
It's so.
You know, the flutist steps up and just jams. You know.
It's the best thing ever.
Yeah, so it's
great.
like urban jazz. It's that whole Boz Scaggs Americana sound.
Wonderful.
Yeah, it's trumpet. It's Boney James on sax, who's so sexy and urban.
Yeah.
So you've got a real mix of sounds, and we have a band coming from Budapest called the Pete Project. And so we're even going to do a little thing where we're putting around Quail Lodge with Pete, putting with Pete. Yeah, so we're just going to play together. We're at after parties. Pete's playing all the after parties, and then the artists will come and sit in with them.
I think I'm really getting the picture of why you guys are all so smiley.
Yeah. This is what we do in Mallorca and Portugal. I mean, they know how to do it in Europe, and we're trying to bring that lifestyle vibe to the American culture as well, because it's such a great, positive, heartfelt vibe.
Oh, and this is what it feels like to me. So super positive, community oriented, but I also really like that the music itself is intricate, and there's so much richness there. And but I just love that energy, that positive energy. But you set the tone as the co-founders. You and Sandy really set the tone for that whole entire thing, for your company, for your listeners, for your artists, and especially I'm just so grateful you did so at a time when people were very tentative and afraid.
Yeah, there's a lot of fear.
And we're now in a time again where there's a lot to be concerned about, but how great to do whatever we need to do in between, and then be with you guys as much as we can. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
It's just such a great pleasure to have you here.
I'm grateful to be here.
And
thank
you for all you do.
Thank you very much.